normally performing.
I am.
So I think this will be very different for you watching Liz on stage.
Yes.
How do you feel?
Well, I feel fantastic, and I think that when I'm on stage with Liz as well, we kind of watch each other anyway.
Yes.
So it's nice to be able to watch from a distance, and also to maybe not be empowered to do anything, just let go and just watch and enjoy.
Amazing.
It's a wonderful feeling, yeah.
But
I'm
this
excited.
whole thing of comedian, I mean, have you actually seen her do comedy?
No, this is new for me. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, she does comedy in her daily life. I mean, everything's got a bit of a twist and a bit of a joke and a bit of a quirky energy to it. So to see it formally on a stage is a new thing for me, and I'm excited about that.
We have the Jamie Campbell here, and he's already busy looking at his watch because he's always has Liz's back, as you know. So, how are you feeling today, Jamie?
We're excited. I don't know, there's such a nice vibe here. It's just like everybody walks in and says, "This is such a nice venue. We never even knew it existed."
I know.
And Liz is also feeling good. So
Fantastic.
we're going to have a ball.
Liz, how are you feeling?
Surprisingly okay. I can't believe it. Actually, with all these beautiful people around, I'm feeding off their energy. All my family are here. One's biologically, spiritually.
Family come in, family come in.
We are family.
Organized chaos at this point. So excited for the show. And how are you all guys feeling?
So excited and so proud.
And proud.
We're gonna knock the socks off.
Welcome everybody, my name is Lauren Jacobs and I am just here because I love Liz and I love everybody. And Jamie says that no one's nervous today because we're all family. So yes. But Liz also told me that she's as amped as a racehorse in one of those styles. So she's just ready to get out there. So we're like going, okay Liz, you know, it's a few formalities first. But welcome everybody, and we're just so grateful that you joined us today, and we know that you're going to have an amazing time. Not so? Yes? Yes! Liz, it's now your time to run out of the style and go for it. We're so excited for My 9 Lives. Liz Campbell needs no introduction with this audience, but let's give her a round of applause.
Well, this is, I think I've ramped it up to a new level, right? And I just like seeing your faces and, phew. No, I don't know how, but here we are. And I just want to thank everybody for coming. And I'm going to just pretend we're on our patio on holiday and we're just all acting like chops and making complete idiots of yourself. And I was first in the queue for that at home. And I thought, you know what, it's okay to have a little bit of a break if I lose my train of thought. So I got my notes here. But I couldn't read, I promise you, until I was about 28. Like, in front of other people. Because I can't see the words. So when Jamie saw my notes, he says, but it's like hieroglyphics. I said, I see the pictures. So I've got all little pictures there to remind me of where I am. But just to give some context, number one, this is about honoring my family and friends and just who forms you in your life. You know, you're not born where you become, you get formed by people. And in the beginning of this crazy idea to raise money to pay our lawyer, I thought, you know what, I'm not one of my three dads. I've got three fathers. Man, I want to give you the backgrounds. But before that, I was thinking this is such a weird time to have a ha-ha show when there's so much trauma around the world, you know. And the good book says that 1,000 years is like one day. So if a few little seconds can be like a few minutes, and I'd like to just stop for just a few little seconds and just think of the millions of people that are being displaced, that have had their homes destroyed, that are fighting terror and victims of just world chaos. And here we are having fun. We are so privileged, you know, and remembering these moments. So just for a few little seconds, just think and just thank God that we have this time Sure. Thank you. So let me get straight into it and to lay a platform of my family. So this is not only going to be just ha, joke. It's going to be storytelling in between the funny stories and funny jokes. That my sister will agree that we had the most eccentric dad. I wonder why. Where I came from. And he used to wear like galabayas, those Arab long dresses, and like a deer stalker and his parrot on his shoulder, and he'd take his Siamese cats for a walk down the road. This is Uncle Dookie. He was crazy, and he had like a prophetic edge to him. He just certainly wasn't Christian, but he loved us girls. But why I say not Christian is because he had another leaning of just like maybe Buddhist leaning, where love all and love people. And he taught me how to love the down and out. And he used to stop at Robertson. We used to go and sit in pubs. He used to always say to me that I could have a little wee drinky with him because I'm going to do it out the house. I might as well drink now with him. And I'd light his cigarettes at the age of 14 or so. And I'd light his pipes, and he was just epic. And it worked. It was an alternative kind of, let my kids do it in my home. And then I would want to do it afterwards, and it worked. It was amazing. Anyway, Uncle Dookie, he was my best, and he knew that shame. He was responsible for my dyslexia, because he also couldn't spell. So I think that's why he got invested in my life like big time. And he used to say in his broad, Scottish accent, "Really, Baron," he says, "don't worry that you can't read." He says, "You'll tell thousands of people your own stories one day." And look what is happening. And he, I'm sure, is sitting up there and looking down and saying, "Go, birdie, then keep it short." He used to always teach me how to read a crowd, and if the story's going down like a lead balloon, wrap it up. He was epic. So he used to teach me fundamental jokes, and I still remember them verbatim, Anyway, we were like a team, like a bit of a Bonnie and Clyde, because on holiday, he used to take me on these trips with him. He was a real poor chap for Woolard batteries, and we'd go off to like Karoo, and he'd make a little nest for me in the back of his paddle van, and we'd, go and have fun for 4 days or so up in the Karoo. And then the one day, we'd have supper, we'd look for a little restaurant or something, before we'd check in a motel, and then we'd have his supper, and he said, "No, we ballad than Bertie, you see that nice girl sitting in the corner? Invite her over to join us." He said, "I look around and I see this pretty other little rep, eating on her own." So I'll go, "Hello, do you like to join my dad and I?" And she'd look and think, "Oh, what harm could be that, Yeah, sure." So of course she'd come and my dad would strike up a conversation, and when time was ready, I would get sent to bed. So I knew later I was always taken on his business trips. Anyway, that was what demanded. And then my folks divorced when I was about, 8, nearing. And she married the most epic Australian. And he looked a bit like Harry Oppenheimer. So the ones who went out, and somebody came up and said, "Oh, Mr. Oppenheimer, could I have your signature, please?" And he signed it there. Harry bloody Harrington. And then he said, "There you go, mate. Have a nice day." Daughters, and of course us 3 girls, so there were 6 girls in the family, you can imagine, all teenagers up until 18, right down to me. So it was a bit chaotic at home for a while, and from Mary and my precious stepsisters were sent off to boarding school in Queenstown, because we originated from a farm in Queenstown called Poplar Grove, a beautiful, beautiful estate. Anyway, so Uncle Harry was my best, and when all of us girls were out the house, he used to love his home and swim in the kolgat, it was cool, and he'd walk around in the nude, just loving just being without all these women, the dog was a female, the cat, the maid, he just was out to nowhere. And the one day, he didn't realise that my little Hilda, my friend, had come to visit, and she was knocking at the front door, and we walked past with Uncle Harry, and he had quite a nice round paunch, and some hernia somewhere. So she fled up the garden path in a shower of tears, never to see Hilda again. And I'm sure, hi, mother, how she must have been traumatized the most amazing dad. And then, of course, one last dad that kept me out of psychiatric hospitals, out of jails, and out of the grave. And that is my heavenly other. He really has kept me and kept me together. And then, of course, my epic mother. She was the one that we didn't bring her today because shame her little memories of it. But she'd be saying, "Clara, Elizabeth, talk slowly. That can't hear. She don't believe a word she says. She's a cartoonist. She exaggerates. She lies." Because most of our concerts at home, when I used to take off the family, because that's what I ended up doing, every holiday, everybody was bored stiff and sitting and, having their cocktails and their little noggin before supper, and we kids running around playing catch cricket on the lawn, and I'd hear my mother, "Elizabeth!" No! Then I'd shoot up a tree or in the bathroom, and no. And then she'd say, "Come on, darling, just have a little sip of this. You'll feel much better in your heart." And that's what she said. She don't believe her. Elizabeth's lying. But she did the once, and not every time. And of course, 2 sips of that, and my little elbows went weak, and I was like looking for the party. And I would tell all the jokes for hours on end and keep everybody entertained. And then they realized I could entertain people. Oh my word, I take out like little Jack and my grandmother, and of course my mom was top of the pile. I could take her off from here to Cairo because she's such a character. She must have been.
Like who else?
Yeah. She was probably the sharpest tool in the garage of God. You know how mothers come with the truth. Anyway, I thank her for this day because shame she would so love to be here. But bless her, she's 93 and needs the toilet every 5 minutes, and you thought, no, she's going to stay home, bless her. And then in honor of my beautiful sister Sheila, who passed away, in my storytelling you will hear a lot about her. And then my gorgeous sister Mary and her 2 beautiful daughters who are like my daughters, and I just didn't get the stretch marks. So, and you are here tonight today. Sarah's in Germany, the other precious daughter of mine, and then my beautiful Daniel and Giancarlo, Sheeta's family in Italy. I just want to thank an extended family. We have the most beautiful family. And I just want to say thank you to my spiritual family, my other family, people that are from my parents' womb. It's what makes life rock, And I just want to tell you one little story about our farm days. My granddad, he was an absolute gorgeous man, and he looked like Prince Philip? Yes, and he loved cars, and he was one of the first to buy Rolls Royce, the Silver Cloud. And it arrived on Sheila's birthday, the 9th of August, all those years back. And anyway, he was just the most lovely man, he and Iris, and they lived on Poplar Grove. And all the farmers used to have ways how to get rid of baboons if they came and, started smoking with your billies or whatever. And feral cats, there were cats everywhere. And anyway, there was this plan that now you encourage these jolly feral cats, you feed them, you give them for a few nights, and then the big night comes, and it's the most incredible thing, that after you put the milk down on the food, you just put like that drop of petrol, like in one of the sauces. Like you just like that, and you leave it, and the cats come and they smell it and they walk away, obviously. But there's usually one out of all those feral cats that will eventually go and drink that flippin' thing. And they will drink it, but then this is what happens. It runs, and it runs so fast that then all the other cats get a fright. And they run after the cat, and they run off the farm. You see, and they go somewhere else. So it's like you have to make a plan, right? So now you're waiting, feeding the cats, and Uncle Sammy, my grandmother, feeding these cats, thinking, no, this is it now, okay, this is the night, I'm all excited, I'm going to put the people. Anyway, we watch it with a torch, and it's like night time, these cats are lying, keeping us awake for the last 2 weeks. Anyway, so hard as flames, this one comes and dents that hole, and oh my God, this is amazing. And then it doesn't run away, it shoots up a tall tree nearby, and then just falls flat out of the tree. Just boom, out of the tree. You're supposed to say dead. Dead. No, it's ran out of petrol. primary school. Oh, shame, this little girl. He thought she was, not thought she was a boy, but I was a tomboy. I love balls, any shape, size, and form. And I used to sleep with them in the bed, and my mom couldn't see where I was. This was a big ball, a little ball, big ball. And then me and the little smelling the plastic. It was the weirdest child. Anyway, we were there, and I go to school, and my dear, they start testing me for hearing and sight, because I just couldn't read. I mean, you get to say B, and you fail, and you can't spell, and you're writing D's for B's. And in those days, they thought dyslexia was something you ate or bought in Greece. You know, it's like complete, they didn't get a clue. So I used to be sent to little remedial school, and you know, now don't give a little dyslexic of 8 to go and wait at a school gate on a Tuesday and a Thursday and give you different times. No, I missed that taxi 3/4 of the time because I was going there at 9:30 on the Thursday, and then it was 10 o'clock. No, and I used to sneak back into class missing all of them. No, it was shocking. And in those days, you used to get hidings, you know, at school. I was covered with blisters and man, you know, 4 right spelling out of 10, and none of these words. And our parents said nothing, it was part of school, you know. And even one day, Mr. Aesop, he said, come, because I was a bit of a jokester in the school, he said, I don't know, let's see how many floorboards we can hit Bravo. And with his cricket bat, he stood there, and he gave me the biggest one. I didn't lift up my head and jump, and shot, get as many floorboard. And then afterwards, everybody laughing, and me too, he says, you're lucky I didn't have a tennis racket, because your bum would have looked like a waffle. So I went out with all these jokes, and nobody did anything about it. And look, we all grew up well, and you were there, boy. I spent more time out the class than indoors, but anyway, love the friends, love the sport, you know, like all those bullies in school on the tennis field or netball court. Anyway, so now, my 2 besties, Cheryl Mole and Sheena Vidigas, and you know, weekends you go to sleep over, you know, your besties. And one of the little Sheena, she's this big, 2 bricks and a tiki house, she was the school mascot, she was just my bestie. And her parents, her dad was Lithuanian, a little Jewish family, and she was my bestie. And of course, Fridays was my big night to go there, and they used to have these candles, and the plated bread, and the chocolate herring or liver or whatever, and they would just look out the box, different people. But I loved them. I was like the little stranger amongst them. And they used to think I was like, they used to call me Ace, because Mr. Vidigas used to think I could do everything. Ace, come! And then I'd have to take some boxes out the cupboard at the top because they were all too small to read. Anyway, the one night after the Shabbat meal, we chat and giggle until like late in the morning, 12 o'clock, go to sleep, and I was starving because their little rations were like this big, you know, they were all this big. And I was like starving on tennis all afternoon. So I'd like wait until everybody's in bed, and I'd go to the pantry and I'd make myself like a lekker dag sandwiches, you know, eat that, scoff myself and wipe the evidence and go back to bed, you know. And in the morning I'd say, Doha, who ate all the bread? Mr. Vidigas, Madame, you must eat. So whenever I went for Shabbat, they pulled my plates, and I got it right. Anyway, they were the most amazing. And during my school career, when I was about 14, a big thing happened. I became, like, what can you say, as Christians, I had an encounter with God, big time. And no longer was I just going to church because my mother took me to church. I had an encounter. So I was a little bit other from then on, but in a good way. My dad was a bit shocked because he was like, no, she's going to become so fanatic. And it was so crazy because I never did. I always knew my dad's love language was his little smoky with me and his little drink. And you know, God knows us because it's just so precious because I never broke that with my dad. We were besties right from the start. Anyway, so then nobody told me, this little dyslexic, don't go nursing. Because after my conversion, all I wanted to be was a missionary, go into the bowels of society and be a nurse and win, like, you know, just be hands-on, you know. But I was autistic, I could draw, and my mother was saying, Lizzie, I want to go nursing now, you know. She said, but my darling, you're so good at drawing, they're going to go and carry bedpans and get a salary like for peanuts. Don't go there. Mom, I'm off nursing. Because I saw that movie, The End of the Sixth Happiness, by Ingrid Bergman, right? In those days where she led all these beautiful little Chinese orphans over the mountains to escape. And that was me. I was off to China after my studies. And God must have got all his angels saying, hey guys, back up, please. So I go nursing. Never look at Somerset Hospital 7th floor saying ever again. It was a male medical. And I was, the only man that seemed on me was my dad. So now we're going there and having to see catheters we put up. And my face was one big sneer the whole time that the matron gave me a mask. Like this look and nothing. Anyway, I was loving it, but God had a setup to get me out of there because, oh my goodness, I can't write under pressure. You know, like weightlifting was out for me because you stand here. Anyway, so now, not knowing this, I'm like, nurses, counsel, big there asking all the questions. But the one ward, I loved these boys. They were all like real characters. And the one guy gets wheeled in. There must have been about 8 in one ward. And really different characters and all sorts of walks of life. He gets wheeled in, but he's full of tattoos from here to there. And the one says, Jamie, bra? He says, weet jy met 'n nat aardes geslaan? I just got best. And then the one guy came in, he'd been stabbed or something, and he was like, you know, all coming. And he must have just come to faith. So every morning before the ward round, he started giving all the other inmates like a preach. Julle, jy weet niks nie van die lewe man. Ek was net soos 'n skooljuffrou. Ek weet ek was na die hel toe gaan. My lewe was gestikkend. Ek sê, julle het jy lewe na die Here gegee man. And then the one guy in the corner said, hey Ricardo, dim your lights. And then there was Nurse. His surname was Nurse, but he was a nurse, and we loved each other. And we got this job to go and bath this birdie, and this is where God stepped in. So we get this guy, never seen water in his mouth, and he's sitting there like in a salon, bath of salon, like. So the nurse says, you take the legs, I'll do the rest. Scrubbing the feet and I'm thinking, the next was Nurse Robertson, come and look at this. So I said, Mark, do you know this? So I go around the guy and he's sitting there and he's this big black thing like the size of my nail. I said, what is it? Oh, he says, no, darling, a black kid. And I just went out. That was me. I landed up in hospital bed. And I just went home. I went to my nurse's room, packed my bags, put the checks together, and I went, James, come fetch me. Standing at the door at the gate there, and Somerset Hospital, my suitcase, and I hear this bellowing matron Burns. Nurse Robertson, what the hell are you doing there? Get into my office. She says, do you realize you've been struck with legal grace? She goes, you can't just leave. I said, well, just scratch me off, please. Anyway, so now what? Oh, my hat, I just straight myself to art school. I mean, thank goodness for my darling mom. She always loved my art and she go to art school. So we found a position and eventually landed up in Cape Town. And then that was what number of my life? Oh, number 4. After the nursing expedition, I go and now this art school. And I was the last to arrive and the first to leave because I really wasn't interested. I thought, how can you serve God painting pictures to make Mrs. Jones's couch? I mean, that's how I thought art would lead to, you know. So I was not interested. And with the history of art, me reading those thick books, no. Anyway, I made the most wonderful friends. Charlotte Dunn in those days, Joan Higo, we had a ball. And of course, I always had a love for the birdies, you know, and I'd raise it up and we'd walk through the gardens to the art school in town, and I knew them all by name. They were my buddies. And anyway, during this art school time, to see where I'm going for a rabbit hole here, there was a friend I met at one of the art parties. He was 20 years older than me, and my parents couldn't stand it. His name was Kees, Dutchman, and we just adored each other. Not in a romantic way, he was my friend. and he loved hiking. So he used to drag me up Platycliffe like 5 times a week, because I was a little bit podgy in those days, and he was trying to get me to lose some weight. And my parents couldn't stand it because number one, he's older, now what's he doing with their beautiful daughter? And he had this wild shaggy hair, he wore this handbag and wore clogs. And he winced because he did ballet. So they were like not into case. Anyway, in order to get rid of case, they decided to pay for a holiday for me to go visit Sheila, who then lived in Israel and worked at the South African embassy, when Israel was still a third world country. I mean, she was 20, she was the youngest foreign assistant to go, and of course they just booted me out, go to Sheila. Now in those days, I mean, Israel, Schneerel, you know, I mean, I wasn't thinking, oh, going to go where, you know, my faith all began, like, you know, Jesus' life, nothing. I just was off to visit my sister. We were joined at the hip. She was one of my biggest fans, because she loved my jokes and we used to laugh our heads off. Anyway, so now I was off to visit Shields, and I had a holiday of a lifetime. I got off that plane, everybody looked like me, they had the hair, they had the nose. God's made a mistake, I should be here. That's what happened. And I couldn't stop crying. I just all I wanted to do was go to Jerusalem. She lived in Tel Aviv, and she had these diplomatic number plates. Of course, all the cops used to and they were incorrigible in Israel. They love women, and my sister was dropped in gorgeous, in the redhead and the blonde, they had these cops, woo, woo, putting us over to me. And my sister said, yes, don't make eye contact, they're just spaceballs. You're such a wet, I mean, have a bit of fun. Anyway, I came back over, and whoa, now it was Jerusalem, and guess what happened? I chose an etching, to do an etching with Jerusalem, the walls of Jerusalem. And guess what pops out the woodwork? This most revolting anti-Semitic spirit from one of the lecturers. I mean, nice guy, we got on like a house on fire before he knew that I loved Israel now. And he absolutely, one day, he shoved me against a metal desk that we were doing work on, and I even had bruises along here. I thought, what is this hatred? And he used to, you know, just talk about these people, and they're just messing up, you know, just disgusting. You don't even want to, mention it. And I went home that night, just feeling so gutted and thinking, what on earth is that? And I felt like God was saying to me, will you stand up for my people one day? Now, sweet 19, what did I know about anything? Will you stand up for my people one day? And I just signed up for the job, you know, I didn't know where that was going to lead me. I'm like, okay, whatever. And that was it. And I went after film service, I finished art school, but failed dismally, thanks to Mr. M, let's call him that. But of course, the birdies were my favourite. And I think I concentrated more on walking to tech than anything else. And there was this one lady, one of my friends who was minding a lovely art cafe, gallery. And she always was so generous and offering, buying me presents. I thought, oh, I'm going to get some cappuccinos and a croissant and go and surprise her one morning on a Saturday. So I was like, now all dressed up and got my little haka on and go and get the takeout, and the restaurant allowed me to use a tray, and they said, bring the cups back later. So I'm walking down the pavement, and there's this birdie lying right across the pavement, now narrow and through road, you see. So now I've got my tray, and so I push him on his thigh, and I say, hey, my groom, are you awake? And you see, he's like, with the cap over his head, arms folded. So I thought, you see, you're alive, with my coffee, you see. So he looks up, and he says, oh, lekker, breakfast in bed. They were my best. And then I used to go to a little church up the road, and Thelma and all her buddies used to come to church because there was cake and tea afterwards, right? So anyway, they'd sit down, and everybody would come and sit near them, and then after a while go, stand up and walk somewhere. So I was assigned to go to Thelma and her friends, enter, because they loved the singing. We'd give old Thelma a tambourine, and she would bash that thing, stick it. And they were like having a big jolt at one song, and she was going for it. Next minute, her skirt goes, whoop. I was sitting down on the window, and she ties it with a rope, duty, there were Taiwanese boats out, like fishing trawlers. Now she had a very busy night and she was on her way home with a bag over her arm, sauntering down the quayside, and there was this boat bobbing in the surf there, and this little Taiwanese had just woken up, hair everywhere, and stuck his head out the porthole to see what the weather was doing, and there he looked straight into Farida with her handbag, you see, and he goes, lekker, no, not lekker, but whistles at her. So she snaps him a look and she says, Jane, dat is skip om your neck and your face a puncture. These are my besties, I love them to this. And then she used to fetch him for a picnic, like a Sunday school picnic, like a Sunday school, but like a church picnic, so I had to fetch them now. And I'd like go to the gardens here and then like just look for them, and they would like come for the picnic. And all get in my little Renault, and she'd sit in the front, she was head on. She's, no sister, no, we must drive around the park one more time. So I said, why, Thelma? She's no, man, just do it, sister, please, man, just one more round time. So I go around the block and I come back and she's, hood, sister, hood. So and about 5 little heads pop up from the canyons. She says, Jana, ik rij in de kar. She was so bright. Anyway, and then by the stage, my mom had bought a flat for her two princesses, Sheila and I. It was an investment at Florida Court. And it was in Bantry Bay, at the top of Craig Rowney Road, and oh my word, it was like Melrose Place. And in the crowd, we even had one or two of the people that lived there, and John Boyce, Mark Medeski, and we had old Jackie, the next door neighbour, and he used to call Sheila and I the ugly sisters, and he was Cinderella. We had a ball, and on Saturdays we'd all decide whose flat was going to have croissants and coffee, and we'd spend the whole day together in winter. It was just a wonderful time. And there was one night, we were there sleeping, and it was like you think you're dreaming it, and you're hearing this singing and like talking, and I was thinking it was my dream, You simply the beast. I think, what? And I hear John upstairs say, no man, shut up there, like, go and sing your song somewhere else, So I think, what's going on? So I look out the window, and there these three birdies, bless their hearts, between my car and somebody else's in the gutter, with no twisty vein, having a party there, singing Tina Turner and bellowing. So I thought, no, I'm off out there, and I'm going to, tell my friends in a nice polite way, let's go down the road. You see, so I put my little silk dressing gown on, and the balmy night air floating out there, and then they sit and they see this apparition arrive, you see, they would still blame man. They would just liedjies daar by die see gaan sing. Betaal groot geld om hier te vlieg in Afrika. Met my lange come. So like she says, oh, okay, princessie. So now she's too adorable, so I pick her up and I'm like helping her get up, and she's starting to sing, you simply the beast, giving all the race, run and hit it. I've always wanted to mime her. to Jamie on the way, I can learn the words, I've never even done this before. Yeah, what a chutzpah I've got, Oh my word. So, Simply and the Best, my favourite. So, after that, failing art school, I hot-footed back to Israel. Oh my word, stuff art school. All I had was a nice portfolio under my arm, and I thought, I'm back home. I'm going to see what life has to give me there. So, kibbutz was fantastic in those days. You go and spend time there, meet people from all over the world, pick fruit in the mornings at 4, have a ball disco at night. I was in my element. And then I get a call from my friend, Bev. She knew I was in town in Israel. He said, Elizabeth, we need an artist. Now, she worked for the International Christian Embassy of Jerusalem. And I happened to be in the right place at the right time. And Vivi and Mark Myberg, they are the directors of ICJ South Africa, Cape Town now. They're in the crowd, very good friends of ours. And her parents, she was a young thing then, young teenager, her brother and sisters were littlies. They all lived in Israel. And Johannes was best, her dad. Gail's in the crowd too, Johannes. They were there living. And there I was, this wild thing from South Africa. I had no idea what the embassy was, what they did. I was just going to Jerusalem. Here I come. And I found myself a job of a lifetime. It was like God was in my back pocket. I had this like amazing downloads of what to do. Painting Jerusalem, 14 meters long, 4 meters high, stage sets, costume designs, brushing designs. I was on a roll. I was going nowhere but stay there. And they used to call on me to do all sorts of stuff. Like, I wasn't designing every 24 hours, so they'd say, Liz, we need you on reception. Oh, they didn't know about my spelling and taking numbers wrong. So they didn't know anything about going to reception. Fabulous, and sitting there answering the phone and writing all the numbers down wrong and making a complete mess. And the one day I was getting ready for some dignitaries who were coming to buy like a bronze sculpture of Golden Era. She's like my bestest hero of the times. So now I was getting the tea ready, all happy-chappy, and in the kitchen there, and in walks these men quite quietly, so I didn't hear. So I walk around with a strap, right into this one official, and they knocked the tea tray out, and I said, you must be the men that have come to see Golda's bust. Well, yeah, I suppose you could say that. Anyway, my days went up there as a receptionist, and it was Friday, off day, and I was so happy to gut leave. And my destiny changed in one instant, where this young Orthodox Jewish boy came there to look and see what this place was. He wasn't there to chat up some girl at reception. He whizzed around the reception, just looking at all the information on the walls. And before I could say enough, he was like about to leave, and he just jabbed me a look and he said, why don't you leave us Jews alone? Leave us alone. Israel is for all the Jews. And I was able to say, we are not here to convert you. We are here to say how sorry we are for what we've done in the name of Christianity over the centuries. And he said, he's like I'm going to believe that. And off he went. So now many of you know that that's the journey I went on, with sometimes truth being more strange than fiction, because we ended up having a friendship that turned into a relationship. And my goodness, you're all going to have to go and buy a book and see the donkey drama when it comes up. And I think all of you sitting here know it's time for that story to be told, right? And everything has an appointed time. And it wouldn't have worked any day before today. So we are just trusting that the money will land in the coffers for this beautiful, beautiful love story. Sad but very, very powerful, because it's a relationship between Jews and Gentiles and how we belong together. And let me see if I can start something here. So the terrible, horrible part for me was I was deported. And I think it was because my sister, having worked for the South African Embassy, there's a saying, I think I don't know who it was who said it, maybe you ladies can share it. He said, if our enemies lay down their weapons, there'll be peace. But if we lay down our weapons, will be no more. And that's the reality of the Middle East. And unfortunately, a lot of Israel's enemies aren't just physical, it can be spiritual enemies, you know. And the poor Jewish folk have a myriad of things to keep watch out for. So I was never actually ever offended by what happened to me, because it showed me how vigilant they are and that they have to know everything. And I just was persona non grata. Here there was this lovely Orthodox Jewish boy, you know, dating a Christian girl. You know, what has she got to do with us? Let's, you know, not only that, he's dodging parents. It was like your beautiful daughter or son going out across a religion that you don't agree with or whatever. So I was deported. I came back broken, like a completely what? But it didn't deter us from endeavoring for me to study Judaism, because I found it fascinating. I hadn't only fallen in love with a human being, but I fell in love with their way of life, with their nation, with their ethos, just the country. It was a package deep. And for me, I had tasted something that I wanted with all my heart. So I studied Judaism at Maria Road Synagogue for about 2 years, and I loved these ladies there, especially the elderly ones, because I used to help them with their little siddur, or, you know, one was trying to put a jersey on. And anyway, the one we were having a shiur where we were talking, the rabbi was talking about, does God hear pray, you know? So Mrs. Bernstein was my little buddy, and she had these huge breasts, bless her. She used to put her arms on them, and she'd have her eyes closed, and you'd think she wasn't listening and she'd fallen asleep. Not at all. But not her, boy. She's listening to everything. And she'd sit in this loaded position, and when something applied to me, she'd anyway, so the rabbi starts asking, and there are a few people scratching their head. No, you know, he's running the universe, he's told us how to live, you know. Oh, why should he answer our prayers? I said, no, I think he does, you see. So I tell them the story of one day when I was getting out of my car, outside my flat in Bantry, and you just sense somebody behind you, you know. So I turned around, and there was this person with this big metal bar that was going to smack me over the head. And I just pointed at this person. I had all the courage in the world. I said, go away, in Hashem's name. And this guy was such a fright that I took such authority that he dropped the pipe, tripped on the gutter, scrambled up and ran around the corner. So anyway, so I get now, the rabbis are asking, does God hear prayer? So I tell them my story. And so then Mrs. Bernstein says, you can tell she's not Jewish. So the rabbi says, well, isn't it something that we should take a leaf out of her diary? Anyway, I had lovely, lovely encounters with all my beautiful Jewish ladies and things there. And hang on, finding my place here. Oh, and then, don't ask me, but wherever I went, there were always Jewish men hitting on me. You know, you're single, and in your early 30s, and you go somewhere, and always a Jewish guy trying to chat me up. Anyway, I used to love jogging from my flat to Newly Point back, Camps Bay, whatever. And there was this guy always trying to pick me up. Oh, Andrew. So like the one day I thought, you know what, God, I'm going to just say I'm married up to you, you know, and Jesus and whatever. So if you ask me a question, I'm going to tell you, yeah, I'm married. Yeah? So I was rushing to do my exercises, my saddles up, and I'm doing my exercise. He says, so, how about a date, you know, I've been seeing you job. I said, listen, Andrew, I'm married, bro. You know, so he says, but where are your wedding ring? I never see you. I said, you don't go running with your jewels, you know? So he says, oh, fair enough. He says, so where's your husband? I never see him with him. So I'm like, yeah, no, he's very busy. So he says, what does he do? You know, so I said, he's a heart surgeon. So he says, oh, wow. He says, amazing. Is he South African? I said, no, he's Israeli, actually. So he says, oh, you married to a Jew? So I said, yeah. He says, what's his name? I said, listen, see you, Andrew, I must go. So anyway, at that time my dad had died, bless his heart, he passed on, and I was left his little cadet. It was the hilarious little chitty bang bang, and it rust on it, but it went like a bomb, and I loved it. And we used to call it Goldilocks, right? So anyway, I had this cadet, and one day I was at that garage, a BP garage thing, and I'm like having a filling up, and then I see Andrew, and I think, oh my word. Anyway, it comes, he says, how's it done? You see? There's a big bubble in my face, pop in my face. He says, so I see hubby's not doing too well. here. Oh, now like wheels are spinning again, and 7 years. I go to the, just desperate to go back to Israel. I mean, surely my deportation's been annulled by now, just 7 years. I thought, let me go and apply. So I tried, and they said, no, for deportation, you didn't have a visa, no problem, you'll be allowed back. You see, so I'm like, yes, I'm off, you see, so I took a ticket, happy chappy, and my mom and I would go to Italy first, and visit Sheila, and then I go to Israel, and I'm all excited. My mother said, they're not going to let you in, it's very ever learn, I said, Mom, where's your face, Anyways, I get there, and it's this story I'm supposed to be telling. So we get there, and the sirens go off. They're in there. The cops are over me, my luggage gets found, it gets tipped, and I get thrown into and that's Rosh Hashanah, so the airport's going to be void of anybody in like an hour's time. And I was going to go and stay in the beginning with my friend Belinda, who I'd met at the kibbutz, Jewish girl. She was living there now. So she was waiting for me through the stalls, and I get thrown into a jail, like this little airport jail. So I'm like, what? So then I hear the guards changing over, and the one was American, his name was Shai. So I'm like, Shai, so surely, we can make a call. So he says, yeah, you can make a call. So I said, please, I've got a friend waiting for me. She's going to not know what's happened. I phoned her from Milan. She's thinking So I phoned her. So Belinda now is kicking off her bombs. So I don't want them to understand. So anyway, she's hysterical. She says, Liz, if I was you, I'd get on the next plane. They still crucify around here. Anyway, I was thrown in the slammer, and there was this Russian girl who'd been there for about 7 days, smoking these disgusting cigarettes, and she offers me one, and I thought, bring it on, anything, boy. So I was sitting at the edge of this bunk bed in this little fluorescent box, like having the cigarette, thinking, oh, this is gross. Anyway, I had a few puffs, and I just had a picture of myself down, looking downwards, thinking, is my life not insane? I mean, my friends, what would they think of me now, So I burst into laughter and then burst into tears. Oh, eventually little Helga gets thrown in there. She was from Taiwan or somewhere. She was in floods of tears, and Mama bade me go, comfort her, make friends with her. And then all of a sudden the door burst open. You, come. So he said, pack your bags, come, we're on a flight back to Italy. So I thought, oh, wow, that was 24 hours and we pack. And we get ready, and she says, no, I go where she go. Because they were going to say to her to stay. And then the cops, they just said, okay, then you go with her, So Helga's like this little, like a koala with me, like a mama bear. Anyway, now there are 2 cop cars. One for her, one for me. This huge Boeing with everybody looking out the windows. And me, like a Kojak storm. With this cop car to the gangplank. And there's the 3 captains and all the stewardesses and there's waiting for their criminals. And I'm thinking, oh, God, just please just stop preparing little Helga holding on to me, like carrying her luggage and mine. And we got our way up there, they take our passports, and the cops onto the plane with us, seat us at the back, bolt us up. Now all the other people on the plane were like, oh goodness, who are these women? Anyway, I was like trying to calm old Bob. I heard his name was Bob. An American guy who was having like a tour group there, and they were going home now, so they were all amped on a roll, and now, whoa, this is, criminals on the plane. So anyway, we struck up conversation. He says, where are you from? Are you really, really dangerous? So I said, oh, Bob, just relax. I'm not dangerous at all. So he starts poking me with all the questions. So I get my second wind, and I start telling him my stories. Oh, I had 4 rows of chairs all leaning over, listening to my story, and clapping and praising the Lord. I even had the stewardess come and say, what's going on here? Oh no, she's telling us her story, we're fine. Ordering another glass of wine. Anyway, I was like, we were like on a roll. Anyway, we arrive in Rome, and they were getting off. Oh my God, what a story! Oh my God, it's right above. Oh wow. So I'm like, oh my life, and bless her heart, she must have some Jewish blood somewhere, because every mama, whether you're Jewish or not, just want to see your babies happy and married and settled. And we had these chests that she used to call hope chests, to collect stuff for your home one day. And of course I was the only one single, and this chest became the flippin' hopeless chest. And she's like, lying around and it's just gathering dust here. And I said, Mom, sing it, man. She's like, what are you going to do when you get married one day? Anyway, she must be like the loveless Jewish joke. And it was about a wedding, My mom also loved these gatherings where she could go inside, check out the talent for me, Mom, I have to go. Ronald's boy, oh, lovely, and daughter, she's so lovely. Anyway, so this is a bit like that, where this Jewish lady going out to find her daughter a nice husband at this wedding, you see. And so the festivities are going on, and everybody's dancing, having a lovely time, and there's this really nice looking man just leaning against the door to stop there. You see, so she's, oh, so off she goes. So, who do you know, the groom or the bride? No, I don't actually know anyone, just walking past, it just looked so lovely. So she's like, yeah, very nice wedding, so what's your name? This is Ronald Cohen. Oh, nice Jewish boy. So, what do you do? So he says, lady, actually nothing right now. You don't have a job? No, it's been very tough. So he says, like, why tough? What's been happening? So he says, well, actually, to tell you the truth, I've been in jail. You've been in jail? No. Oh, what? Why were you in jail? What did you do? So he says, well, just I'll tell you the whole story. He says, I actually killed my wife. You killed your wife? So you single? People would give you these books, how to stay single and pure and, not sunny yourself and And this one was called Flying Solo. I said, I hate it. I remember throwing it across the room and hitting against the window. Pages went everywhere, and I was so low, I could have flown a kite under this carpet. I didn't need to know how to fly any lower. Anyway, it was like really like, God, the king of the universe, is it so hard for you to send just a guy, normal guy, hairy legs? I mean, is it such an ask? The God that made the platypus and the ostrich? I mean, hello? I don't want to walk down that aisle like a little lady with a Zimmer frame. My mother's offering me facelifts. She said, Liz, you've had such a traumatic life, my darling. You really should go for a tuck in the tree. I said, thanks very much now. I said, right. Oh, we go for quotes. So, we look quotes there, 55,000 rand back then. And I go, Mom, there's a nice quote there. Oh, she fell off the chair. No, must be joking, so now I was left with this hectic complex, walking around with doozies over my face and having to go for trauma counseling. That was really bad. And all my friends are their second husband and fifth kid. You think, what's going on here? Am I being set up for something or what? And my darling Mom. Anyway, so then one of my friends, bless her heart, I just needed something to distract myself, get a job or something, and forget about this Johnny marriage business. So she finds this advert, Straight Publishing are looking for a book designer. She says, you can do it standing on your head, man. You can paint, you can design, you can do anything. So I apply. And so Angela's the lady now, I go to Straight Publishing down there for sure. It's like December time. And so we meet Angela, and she's asking me my experience, and I say, no, I've never done book design, but I really know I can do this. I've got a friend who knows how to do it. Thinking of case now. Anyway, so she for some reason, she said something about my past, and I started telling her about my choice and my love story. Well, I was there 2 hours. She had a tissue box full. She was crying. She was like, oh my God, Angela, give me the job. I promise you. It will change my life. She said, okay, I'll try and get you a second interview. Anyway, I get the call. Jerry Strait, Northall, the big shot, coming in for a second interview. So I'm like, happy chappy. Don't ask me how I got the job. But I start, in January. Oh, it's such a lovely holiday. Liz has got a job. And my mother saying, but with an editing company, you don't know how to read, you don't know how to spell. Okay, they're computers now, And I'm going to be flipping writing the book. I'm just saying, but you should resign now before they fire you. My father, you can't do it, Bardi. You don't have a nose like that for nothing. So school. Anyway, my mom, all her fears were visiting me. And anyway, so I now start the job and I go, and it's these books I bought them to show you. I designed that many of them. And the front end, I'll tell you that now, the one was how to build a carport. So the lady just considered, and I'm in the middle of this book, and I hadn't a clue of what to do. And they just threw me all the tools and whatever and said, carry on, I was in complete diarrhea, running to everybody for help, like a phoning case, before cell phone days. And one day I went to this lady and I said, can you help? She says, no, man, I make the tea. I said, where can I get on? And I thought, okay, calm down. Go to the toilet. I think, what did she say? Okay, yeah. And in those days we had those discs, that you put in the computer. So I said, okay, that, and just, all right, upstairs. So I go upstairs, and there's this secretary. So I said, excuse me, I'm new here. I said, I don't know where she sits, but I've got to put this on Floppy's desk. The joke was that Jamie, when we met, this was his Bible. Little did he know that he would marry the girl that designed this. He grew all his roses with my rose book, and I even showed him how I could illustrate. So I was a big asset to Strake, because I picked it up. Where there was a hole for the text, I just paint something. Came very handy. Anyway, so I thought, no, I'm off to the Middle East. I can't bear this, Kicked out of Egypt, Israel, I'm off to Egypt. My friend worked for YWAM. She was a youth with a mission, and I had a British passport. She said, you can get in there, Liz, go to YWAM. Just go and, you love people, and they need people in Egypt. It's a tough call, but go. So I applied, 29, and off I head for Egypt. And I had the most incredible time. I cried more than I laughed, because it is so brutally cruel, and so rough and hot, and we were, after our DTS course, we went into an orphanage. It wasn't really an orphanage, the kids were hidden because part of their families or their dad or mom were having to be forced to become Muslim, and they used to hide their children so they didn't get forced to become that. And there were about 18 young boys ranging from 4 up until 16. And they all had worms, riddled with cataracts. We had to shave their heads immediately because of the lice. There was one running tap that no hot water, and they hadn't seen water for months. Their little hands were encrusted with dirt, and they were actually frightened of water. So we had a big job to try and break these little ones into water, and we started water fights with water in balloons, and then they throw them at each other. Anyway, crisis, and Nadine was part of the team. She was an Egyptian doctor. She looked a bit like you, Anna. And she loved me. She used to tail me all the time, and I used to give her makeovers at night, and she just had this thing about me, because at this group, a lot of the Coptic Christians couldn't stand Israel. And they had this thing. And then I was the one to say, but guys, what are you doing hating Israel? Jesus was a Jew. He's a Jew. He comes from there. What are you doing? They had this mindset change to the point where they actually had a night where they actually sat me as a person in proxy for the Jewish people. And they all came and washed my feet and kissed my feet and asked me to forgive them for their hatred. And the one day, Nardine said to me, you won't like what you're hearing across the road. Because there was a school there with these cadets, little voices over a microphone, shouting and like a cadet thing, And so I said, why? What are they saying? No, these are the little ones being trained up for becoming jihadists, And so they must be in their 30s, 40s today, because that's the school curriculum. So you see the enemy of our precious Israel. It is brutally sad because these kids are born, we could have been born into that. Nobody asked us to be born into the families we are. But when there's that hatred, it gets planted in you from that little age. Anyway, so my Egypt days, at the end of the course, we decided to go to the pyramids and ride around, on these stallions. Now, I don't know nothing about a horse. And I was like standing in there with my Indiana Jones hat and my Pentax camera and just the doll. And now we get given a horse each. And I'm like, I've never ridden a horse in my life. So I say to the Arab guy, no, I'm going to have to hang on to the saddle. You take the reins and just lead me. So, I don't know what I'm doing. So I get on this horse and it just feels a bit slippery, like the saddle's not tight. Anyway, it must be new. So his horse now in front there, he's got a runny stomach. I was flattered with poo and all of my sunglasses and I'm hanging on for dear life. No, this is not happening. And then the saddle's doing this and I'm scoring and next minute I am flying in there. Hit my head in the sand. I was like completely out for a few minutes. Like totally, thank God, a few meters further was a big outcrop of rocks. So I hit that was me. So I was like lying there, like absolutely, of course all the horses ran away, so the silence, and I think, what am I alive? Am I in heaven or hell? And I hear this like a donkey noise and a little like yalla. Next minute, through the blur, I see this little boy, he must have been about 6, opening a Pepsi Cola, and he says, Bishvila, Mishflus, which is Arabic means for you, no money. And it was like a cartoon, it was like an advert for Pepsi Cola. But oh my word, that was the end of Egypt. And so then they were wanting me to go to Hong Kong afterwards, because there were posts there, and I had absolutely no desire to go to the Far East. I just knew Israel or back home. So I thought, you know what, in Egypt we can sneak through to Israel through Nueva, So I packed my bags and all the YWAM team said, Liz, you're crazy, they won't let you. I said, no, I'm going to try, you better go. Miracles do happen. So I get there, all styling again in a hat that I cleaned, pink tags like I was a tourist, And the minute I hit that little scruffy office in the river, they just said, yellow, come, boy on the road. And like next minute, where are we going? And all the tourists go in, and they stuck me in a foul hawk. And next because another bus was coming, and like in half an hour, and they didn't have like a detainee, like the other rooms were full or whatever. So I sat there on my suitcase, and I was chicken coop. And I wish there was somebody to take a picture of this. This is hilarious. Anyway, next minute, there comes this bus. No windows, the door's broken, and this huge big Arab guy gets out, yalla, the Arabs, the Jews don't want you, us Arabs will have you, come. And he was an absolute darling. He drove me all the way back, not his route, it was just his only passenger. I thought, my mother will have this broken bus with this big Arab man going off to Cairo in the middle of the night, and things I got up to, I don't know. But he took me right back to Henny's house where I was staying. And you get people, beautiful, beautiful people in this life, eh? Anyway, so that was my Egypt days. And now I get back, I'm 41. Wheels are spinning. All my friends on the 3rd husband and 6 kids. But anyway, I was like just thinking, no. Why people were saying you've got to write a book, Liz. Your story's epic, And I think, but write a book? I can't spell. I hate sitting in one space for too long. So my mother says, I'll buy the computer. the end of it, I really became single and satisfied, you know, because a lot of my friends were still miserable and they married. They've got everything I wanted. The homes, the pajamas, the kids, the everything, the going away weekends and whatever, the cat on the mat. And there I was in Florida court and I refused to get a cat or a dog or a guppy. I thought, no! And I was just thinking, maybe let's just get closure. You know, finish this book and then do whatever after that. So I didn't have a clue what to do after I'd written the manuscript. I just knew that I was going to go to Italy and visit my sister. I thought after that, back to Shields, and we can have a ball there, and I can paint. She had a friend who owned a B&B up in Tuscany, and I could go paint, so that was my plan, my plan of action. So now...
So the key to it was the underpants story.
Oh, what? Oh, yes. Jamie read my notes. There was one book that I read that said that you must hang a pair of underpants at the end of your bed and you pray for God to fall in. Mattress over and I called Marilyn to come and help me, you know, and out shot the underpants. Oh, yes! Jenny was there and they got even holes in there. We were in comments. And so then we nearly there, and so then they said I was meet this Jenny Campbell, whatever. I'd been a married guy, 5 kids, you know, but I wasn't into looking for a husband. Now I was so single and satisfied. I just was ready to rock it on my own. I thought, you know what? I'm going to go and have facelifts and to get a husband, found a husband. Sorry, I'm checking out. Because if it's that superficial, I'd rather be on my own. Thank you very much. So I was on my own and loving it. And Jamie Campbell, I was meeting. So I thought, well, great, you know. So he was going to come and fetch me to take her to go and like have a bring in bride and friends, and I'd bring my manuscript and we'd meet up. And so we go, and I'm rather gorgeous, but in there, I thought, okay, I'm not looking anymore. And 5 kids, no. So anyway, we get on a house on fire, chucked our heads off, and then at this bring-in chair, he says he's off to the beach with his little boy to booty board or whatever. So I said, oh, can I come, you know? And he always had a tennis ball to throw to little James, and you know what boys do on the beach. Anyway, so they were, I was like a third nostril. Jamie was not interested. He was like another aspiring author that his friend wanted to meet, you know. Why didn't you go and find some other publisher? I mean, he had like 20 on his desk anyway. So like, this bird, you know, I wants to publish a book. What story has she got to tell? Anyway, not interested in me. Anyway, so these two just playing ball there. So I said, hey, what about me? So he says, what can you catch? I said, yeah, throw all one. So James looks at James, Junior. Okay. So he throws a high one. I thought, oh Lord, here we go. So and then I saw Jamie like this, you know, and he just went like this. Whoa, game change. Okay, this is interesting. And then already my script was looking like it was going to come to the top of the mountain. And then he came. Then anyway, Jamie, this is dangerous. Because I think you want to tell, then the first date was that, not date, but we were going to go and discuss the manuscript, right? And it happened to be Valentine. We don't get the details all right now. We're just going to whiz the story. So now we go for a nice sundown on the rocks there, Bantry Bay. So unbeknown to him, I pack a bottle of wines and chippies, and I thought, you know, we go and watch the sunset before we go and do our thing. Yes, now it's your turn. Come, but keep it short, Brandy. Now can you remember your lines?
My hairy legs have gone grey. be very quick. No, it was, well, Bantry Bay for starters. Saunders Rocks was where my dad taught me to swim. He was a scientist in the Department of Sea Fisheries, and Liz bought this bottle of wine and some chips, and we sat on the rock and watched the sunset. So as soon as the sun went down, it got very cold. So then Liz looks at me and she says, I've got a circulation problem. Do you mind if I just get a bit closer? Sorry, okay, that's how I survived 20 years of marriage, you know what I'm saying? So in my head now, I thought, well, you know, this chick's now, she's pulling into me. And I got such a shock, because I've never heard that kind of line in my life. My kids used to brag and say, oh, Dad had 300 girlfriends. Yeah. Anyway, so Liz pulls in, and I get such a shock, so I slipped. And as I slipped, my foot connected the wine bottle and the wine glass, and they rolled down the rock and smashed. Now, up at that particular point in time, I thought Liz had a virus way beyond COVID-19. It was called Israelitis. And I just thought, something in my memory bank said, oh dear God, no, please not. Isn't it what happens at a Jewish wedding? That you break the glass? Well, I finally broke the glass. And I'm very glad I did it. And you've been such a blessing. I love you.
It was such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it was so miraculous, you know, our meeting like that. Because Jamie, that night, he wrote on the survey 21 things that he loved about me. And he didn't even know, because God had shown him my heart, you know. And I just knew that I'd found gold. And so then it had come kind of, let me just see where I'm going here. Jamie couldn't have been better to carry my destiny, because the story, not many men would be able to hear me talking about another love, you know, that I had in my life. But he saw the bigger picture, the bigger love story, and that is joining Jew and Gentile, and bringing understanding between where we all fit in, because it's a puzzle piece, it's a blueprint, and we don't know it. We only get little bits of it. Both sides of God's family don't get the big picture. So that's part of our job. And then we had this incredible hour. We were going to Joburg on a wedding, and out of the aeroplane, I had an open vision of, once now we're married and everything, and I see the Jewish community coming together and the Christians through the arts, music and arts. And I saw the stage, and I've seen it 5 times now, because each time we've had 6 of these concerts, and Jamie knew this was a God thing. And then we met Erich Kate, who was the one to carry this vision with us. And he's here today in the crowd, one of my favorite men in the world. And he's been the absolute most incredible partner to help pull the Jewish people together. I call the Christian people together, and he's the most incredible human being, not only a very talented musician. And Erez carried this vision with us faithfully, and we had such a ball. The first time it was in Plett where he lived, and I think 2 little Jews had the courage to come with like 120 Christians converging on this shore. And then the next concert we had like 20 Jews that decided to come, and then the next one 500, and then like 600. It just gathered momentum. And that is when I met my beautiful, beautiful Ritzo friends. Jewish ladies who I became friendly with. I've always kept my contacts and my friendship up with the Jewish community. And they were talking, a lot of my friends, Felicity and Brenda, and then I met Tamar, and they were talking about raising money for this WITSO, Women's International Science Organization. And after a while, I was with Tamar, and I said, why don't we open a Christian branch? You know, and we also have friends that have got 250 rand to become a member. I mean, that's passive income. going for how long now, girls? About 7 years, hey?
Yes.
6 years. We've become part of Ruth, we called Ruth Branch appropriately, and we do what we can to join the two communities. And whenever we get led to do concerts, and I just want to thank you, ladies, for embracing us Christians. Many of us we're going to do this thing together because there's too much light, there's too much beautiful hearts and love out there. And so, just before I wrap up, I just want to say one last thing about, being 63 and having the guts to do this. And, oh my word, I can be in a shop like, say, Willie's or something, and these gorgeous girls come up, late 30s, early 40s, and say, "Are you Auntie Liz?" And I say, "Yes, who are you, beautiful woman?" And she says, "Oh, you told me a chicken story when I was little, and I've never forgotten about it." I said, "What? Whose daughter are you?" And it'll be somebody's friend's daughter, because nobody gets away from Auntie Lizzie telling stories. And my darling Jane here, she used to get in my suitcase. No. And when we went home, because that was one of the things my mother always said, that it was my biggest heal, is that I never had my own children, because I was a born mother. But I said to God, okay, give me spiritual children. So we made a good trade-off there, and I don't have the stretch marks, so that's cool, eh? So the story, the stretch mark, that is the chicken story. Maybe. Okay, no. Okay, I need the table for it. Let's just put this here. I'm going to spin it very quickly, guys, because with children you can spread it out and have them transfixed forever. Okay. So it goes like this, and I ask them, why we do? Okay, you look at it. All right, I'll hold it, and then when I do the thing. Thanks, my love.
I'll wait for you.
No, it's okay now. I've got it. Okay, all right. So the story goes like this. I say, do you want it in Italian, Xhosa, Afrikaans, English? And they go, what? Can you speak all those languages? And I say, yeah, Xhosa. They all say, and I'll say, okay, Chilibo. All right, I'm going to talk it like with the Xhosa accent with a few words in between. So there was little Vuzi. Vuzi was a nice little boy, and his mother was very proud of Vuzi. He was getting a big boy now. He must have been about 7 years old. So Dudu was coming for lunch, a big weekend, and he says, Dudu, well, you're getting big now. You can get 50 rand. Go to the shop and buy a nice big chicken for Dudu. We're going to have a lovely party. You man, Mama, 50 rand. He says, now don't go to your friends and show off that you got the money. You go straight to the shop and come back. Yeah, Mama, you, yes. Gets to the shop, and the shop owner comes, yes, Dudu, what can I do? He says, my mother wants the biggest chicken for 50 rand. Yo, Puti, Isa, we've got a nice one at the back there. You, Puti. Nan's okay, Puti. Nan, so now you don't have to be that close, eh? So there's the chicken.
It's not a camera, Liz, don't worry.
That one. Oh, yes, sir. Wow, the 50 rand, and the chicken's now there. Woo, carrying it, running home. Woo, this chicken's out of control. He sees his friends. Morning, John. He gonna go cook. Now, he's running home, and this chicken's going mad. And he was on the arc, like the M2, and a big Mack truck comes past. Woo, and the chicken flies out of his hands. Oh my goodness me! And the truck goes over it, and there's the chicken. Oh, it's all. We go. Oh, gee, Mama, what he picks the chicken. Oh, good. I'm so sorry. He runs back to the shop and says, Joe, the chicken got run over by the truck. Yeah, put him in there. Your mother's going to get very angry. What can you do, please? Please do something. He says, you better play. He says, hey, I'll play. So he says, hey, Putty, I don't know what to do with this one. That's Frank. It's Frank. You be there, man. Let's not play here. Shoo. Okay. Now it's okay. We make a nice play. Okay. What are you doing, man? That doesn't look like a chicken. Wait, man, I have a play Now it's okay. Now it's okay. The chicken. Hi. He says, but where's the chicken? It doesn't look like a chicken. Hey, what you come worms are doing good. Ah, he made me. Now
Here we have Ara Manuelian. Ara, what did you think of the show?
It was amazingly entertaining. Liz is a born storyteller. The story is very compelling, there's no question about that, but the way she puts it across is quite amazing. And it makes you think that there are people out there with all kinds of lives and all kinds of experiences. There are all sorts of people around the world. And yes, the universe is out there and it delivers.
Amazing.
The moment you put it out there, which Elizabeth obviously has all her life. She has given and she has received.
100%. And Ara, what actually brings you here? What is your connection to Liz?
Well, Elizabeth came into my life basically through you, and we are in the process of finding a way and making sure that a beautiful story becomes not just a book that it has been, but perhaps a movie, perhaps at least a documentary, perhaps into a docudrama, and because it is a drama of great proportion, of Romeo and Juliet level of proportions. So yes, we're in the process of that, and we're hoping that we can make this dream happen.
I'm Nikki, and I actually met Liz years ago, but only really connected with her during lockdown, and she's just so dynamic and so lovely. And when I found out about her story, I immediately read her book, The Choice, and I absolutely loved it. And I said to her on that first day that I saw her again in person, I said, Liz, I want to be in the movie. I'll do anything. I promise I'll sweep floors. Please, can I just be a part of this? Because I was so excited about it, yeah.
I think that at a time like this we need the story, and I think the Lord is going to open the way, and I hope that we'll have the story, and I'm in the background behind her on the finances, and I'm just so glad to be a part of it.
I think this is a side of Liz that I always see almost as a friend, and she sends me lots of voice notes, so I laugh a lot at her stories because she says the weirdest things sometimes, and then I have a good laugh. So I kind of am really excited that it was like more than an hour long, that I actually got to hear all her stories. Sometimes I get to hear them in clips, you know. So I think that this is actually the Liz that I kind of feel like I know, and now it's kind of like everybody knows, and we all get to listen to a very long voice note from her, you know. So that's how it kind of feels, and I'm really actually excited that she could do this actually again.
I needed today's laughter. I think the show was absolutely incredible, and just like Liz says, laughter's medicine to the soul. It is so true. We couldn't stop laughing, and the moments that she shared, it's like, wow, we had so many wow moments. It was absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
And the endorphins is actually still flowing through my body, and that's just the therapeutic aspect of laughter. It was amazing. And not only that, there were people that were in the audience that was also very inspired by her story and different aspects of her story. So they're going away not just with laughter, but a real takeaway. You know what I mean? Well, Liz has got a mission in the earth, and it's quite a high calling. And I suppose as she also goes on her journey, she just keeps ascending to make manifest on the ground between Jew and Gentile what needs to actually happen in the earth. So I have a great heart for that, and I don't know anyone that's really doing it like she does it.
Yeah.
And so that's why I follow her.
We like different.
I follow, and I just love being connected in that way. Yes, and also because I also love Israel so much.
For me it was a dream come true, because I've grown up watching Auntie Liz perform, and for me there's nothing that feels more joyful or funny or like home or youth or memories. So she was born with the skill, she is just naturally such a tonic, and I couldn't be prouder. And for me, knowing the personal anecdotes about the people, and I could just see them because she just has such a beautiful knack of doing it in such a humorous but loving way. And yeah, I know my cheeks hurt from all the smiling and the pride.
Yes, I'm very proud of Elizabeth. I know that we've often said she should, you know, do something like this, but she said she didn't really think she'd be brave enough. But I truly am, as a sister, incredibly proud of her. My sister and I, we were the quieter ones, and I think she inherited half my father's craziness and my mother's craziness. So I've always said to her, she's had the double dose of all the humour and the artistic streak and everything. But I'm truly proud of her today. I mean, I really am. I'm overwhelmed, and I feel she really did herself proud. Yes.